Mancuso's etymology class. This is number 5 in the video series. Because the other day was Ash Wednesday, we have Easter coming up pretty soon. So we're going into the Easter season. Let's take a look at that word Easter. That's the word that Christians have been using since about the year 300 AD, or at least a form of it. And this is the word that we use to refer to Resurrection Sunday. One of the very unfortunate things that we have in the history of Christendom is the confusion around this word. Calling it Resurrection Sunday is something that a lot of denominations have been doing since the 20th century to get away from this word, and it really is a good thing, and here's why. This word Easter right here, as you can see, is just an alteration of this word, Ashtar. Ashtar was a Celtic and Druidic god. It was a god of springtime, of renewal. It was a fertility god. So back in the 4th century AD, Constantine decided to bring together the entire land of Christendom, which included Europe and the British Isles. And in doing so, what he did, unfortunately, it was great that he wanted to spread Christianity all across Europe. But what he did was he said to people that weren't Christians in the area, well, bring parts of your religion in, and that way we'll just kind of make it one big continent-wide religion. It really wasn't a great idea. When the people who were early Christians on the British Isles, who had come from Celts and Druids, as they were embracing this idea of Resurrection Sunday, they were thinking, oh, what holiday do we have that celebrates the beginning of spring? Oh, we have this holiday that celebrates this fertility god. And what images, what icons, what things did they use for that? Well, bunnies. Because rabbits are so fertile. So that's why there's an Ashtar bunny, an Easter bunny that celebrates fertility. This has nothing to do with Christ's death and resurrection. So Easter is not a very good word for it at all. If you look at some of the languages that came from the southern part of Europe, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, they will use a word that's something more like this, something more like Pascua. And this harkens back to the days of Passover, because remember that our entire Easter celebration is our Christian replacement of and fulfillment of the old Jewish celebrations of the Passover. Remember, Christ was the ultimate Passover lamb. So that's a much, much more fitting word. If you go into one of the Romance languages and you find a word like Pascua, that's a whole lot better than Easter. Remember that then as this word right here celebrates the spring, it comes close to the equinox. Obviously, Easter has to be just after the spring equinox. So in some ways, this celebration of Easter from the old Celts and Druids was watching to see when the sun would start rising earlier and earlier in the day and setting later, and there would come a point, obviously our equinox, when it evens out. It's exactly 12 hours. So Easter, to them, was a special celebration in the spring of the rising of the sun. And we as Christians know that if we're going to call it Easter, we can think of it that way, but we're going to spell it with an O. It's the rising of the Son of God.